And 3, 2, 1, we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our LinkedIn session. How are you today, Luca?
I'm doing very well. I'm excited about this Vinton thing. Today
Yes,
dashboards.
yes, dashboards. So, before we get into the dashboards and all the fun things that you can get insight to with Salesforce reporting, if you have Vinton in your org, let's go over the basic rules of conversation, why we're here.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So this is a LinkedIn live session. Hello and welcome everybody. Thank you for watching. This is where we kind of focus on features, interesting things that we're developing, that we've developed and launched. And we thought today to talk about dashboards, just because it's kind of the best kept secret of being native. And then, everything else is maybe obvious, data in Salesforce, all your calls or your phone calls or video calls or your in-person meetings come to, but how do you report on them? Oh, well, Salesforce can
Yes.
lend a hand, right?
Yes, because when we talk about our product, we often talk about how you can record calls and how you can do so many things and how it adds values. I don't think we had a specific session where we have told about how reporting can make everything so much easier, especially for managers.
Yep.
So let's share our screens and show them a sample report that we have in our.
Should we? Let's do it then. Okay.
Okay.
So very nice zoom effect as always, and we're on. So, well, let's start with this. What's Vinton? Just in case you've been under a rock for some time, if you follow us, But here's a quick explanation. So, an AI note taker. Have you heard of Otter, Gong, Fireflies, Fathom? There's
Read.
1 in a million. Well, imagine that, all those features, but all capturing natively data into your Salesforce. And that's exactly what is happening here. So this particular contact is called Mina Client, clearly a demo account, and clearly, we have Mina in person here. But she was also part of a video call, and that video call has been recorded, captured, added in Salesforce, exactly where it belongs, right? In the CRM, connected to the contact, connected to the opportunity, and so forth. Now, Mina, as a client, interacted with one of our colleagues in a simulated, demo environment like this, and that activity has been captured. And now, what we were showing is dashboards that show that activity. So we're looking inwardly today. Yeah. We're looking at the team, and we're trying to establish what are the reportable metrics and interesting insights that we can gather from the team with regards to their use and interaction and engagement with clients, right? So that's why we created the dashboard.
Yeah, so this is a version of dashboard that we've created. All the data, one thing that we sort of iterate over and over again, all the data that you have related to the call is within Salesforce, so you can use all of it in reports. Over here we've created a report that sort of, first it's telling you the total number of meetings, so the total number of meetings that we've recorded. It could be an audio, it could be a video meeting, it could be an in-person meeting. So when you come here, you can see the stats on the top. So
it's interesting because as you're saying, we have a mix of quantitative and some qualitative information as well, right? Because that's the kind of the nature of the beast, right? So we are adding in Salesforce information that relates back to the activity of people. So how many calls, how many minutes they spent online. Actually, this one is also quite interesting, right? And these are all examples, by the way, of us mixing different stats. So this is interesting because this one, I'm pointing to my screen and you probably don't see it. This one that looks at opportunities, contacts, and accounts, and it's kind of an activation type of.
So you can see that the total number of meetings that are recorded over here are 107, but a lot of these meetings could be internal meetings that are between, let's say, me and you, and that are not directly related to an opportunity, account, case, or a contact. So over here, because we have that information where we know when a call is linked to a contact and which call is linked to an account, so we can sort of filter it and report.
Yep.
So that's what we're doing over here. So for the first one, you can see that is the total number of meetings in a certain time period that you can define in the report. And then the next one is in the same time period, how many were linked to either opportunities, contacts, and accounts. So over here, we've filtered it by all three. You can create a dashboard or a report that just filters it by opportunity.
Yeah, of course, just by one, right?
Yes.
And how do we know? How do we know that there's a contact, a particular contact that participated into a call?
So the way it works is that, as you know, that after a call is processed, we have an email address in the call on the meeting invite. That's for video calls and
from the calendar.
And from the calendar.
Okay.
So we have that information with us, and we sort of
We
map
use it.
it back to the opportunities and accounts, and the call is sort of mapped back. But when we're mapping it back, we're also saving that reference, and then we can use that in our reports to see how we're doing in opportunities or cases or records.
So that's kind of also here, right?
Yeah.
Where we have cases and opportunity as an example mapped out,
Mm-hmm.
because we know that a participant or a number of participants in the call are directly involved in a case or in an opportunity.
Yes.
So this is kind of external
Exactly.
looking, and we have a client or a prospect that is working with us, and so we can see the individual team members.
Yes.
And what type of records in terms of
Yes.
cases and opportunity in this example
So-
do they deal with on their
Exactly.
calls? Okay.
So for instance, for this particular graph that you're seeing, in which you're seeing that Catherine was the owner of 5 calls, and she interacted with 5 opportunities across the certain time period that you've defined in a report. So you have more visibility on who is interacting with which opportunities.
Yeah.
If you click on there, you can sort of like go to the audio note and see all of that as well. That's more detailed.
Yeah, we'll go there. The reason why this is interesting, and I was actually presenting it to a client, is because we believe it gives you an idea of the type of reportable data.
Mm-hmm.
And the likelihood is that if you're looking at this and you're interested in what we're showing here, you have already dashboards built in your Salesforce, and they relate to the opportunities, to the cases, to the contact, to the activate, and to the activities, and all of that. This is a way to add and overlay that information that comes directly from the engagements on the phone, on video calls, in-person meeting, and voice calls, and kind of remap or enhance, I guess, your opportunity and your ability to report back to the leadership team with data that comes directly from video calls, phone calls, and all interactions.
And also because it's in Salesforce, and if you've been working in Salesforce, you definitely have some reports to sort of see how different teams are doing within Salesforce. So you don't even have to learn anything new. You just have to understand that this is the data that we have, this is where it's stored, and you can create reports. So this is not a new skill that you have to understand or
exactly. And I challenge you to do that with any third-party AI note taker, right? So try to do that with Otter, or they will have nice dashboards built on their own portal, but it doesn't relate back to the opportunities that the team is working on, the cases, the contacts, the activation, the health of an account, where you can map, we haven't had any call, health is red, maybe there's a connection there, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
So that's just one example of a report that you can create, but you can, because all the data is in Salesforce and it's individual pieces of the data, so you can create as many reports as you want. So
and so far we've mentioned predominantly about quantitative reporting, because that's, we know dashboards and reports, they very often focus on the quantitative elements, right? So what are we doing? Where are we spending our time? And how many people are we engaging in our conversation? That's the focus. There's an element of quality that, with a little help from Vinton and its AI insights, we also generate, and we actually empower our clients to generate their own version of what a good score is for a call, or a good sentiment is for a call. This dialogue score is a kind of positive or negative words and wordings and dialogue, and that's how it's scored. So that ability for us to report on qualitative elements as well comes to life here as well, and we believe, and we worked with a couple of clients, and again, example here maybe brings it to life a bit more easily to understand. We work with clients to help them understand not only the quantitative elements, who's working hard, who's having a ton of calls and engagement, but also how, from a quality perspective, they're actually working.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can see that John Smith needs some coaching here.
Yeah, there we go. So John Smith, I'll talk to you later. I mean, a score of 10, only in a demo, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
You don't take these numbers, they obviously, coming, from a mix of internal and, made up calls. But I think you can probably immediately see, and project it in your own org. If you, thinking about it, using an AI note taker, how about after every call, you get a score associated with how the call was conducted, how well the methodology was applied. And this is what is all about with the coaching app. And I think we actually dedicated a LinkedIn to looking into how you can personalize coaching and areas of improvement and suggestions to your own way of your own methodology, your own way of approaching this call.
If, for example, as a manager, you wanted to look into, let's say, my score, if you click here, it would take you to the report, and you can have a little bit of summary on what it lacked. It's a bit of summary of
I'm interested in 65 on a daily catch up. The status was cordial and professional but lacked structure. Mina. I mean, again, this is a demo. 20, that's bad. Meeting appears to be a technical test or trial run, so not a great score there. But I think you get a sense. Actually, talking about the reports that sit behind each of these, let's actually go back to this one, and just to kind of take a look at what you're hopefully familiar with, right? So where are these dashboards coming from? Well, they're coming from reports. Reports that are pre-built. All of what you see here comes out of the box with our solution, and they're in your hands to adapt and customize to your specific needs, making sure that all the team members are captured correctly, all the information that you want to surface is the right one. And you can see again, demo example here. So there's a bit of everything in here, but I think it gives you an idea. And you were mentioning that we're highlighting the duration in minutes, but it could be many more metrics that we report here.
Right? So this is something that we've created for this particular demo, but then again, we have everything that you can think about that you had in a call. It is in your Salesforce, and it's in a separate field. So it's sort of pushed back to Salesforce in a way that can be reported very easily. So it's just a matter of looking at what your requirement might be and what you would want to the dashboard to look at. So this is, for instance, a dashboard where you're looking at general performance, and then there can be another dashboard where you can look about how people are using the tool, so who's clicking on where. So there's a lot of things that come with.
How do we help our clients understand exactly what you're saying? So the different types of effectively the data model that sits behind, right? So do we have documentation on that?
Yes.
Who created it? You created. Yes.
We do.
So tell us about 5 seconds about the data model, and what's interesting, right? So there are some obvious things that we capture, right? So we call it an audio note.
Yes. So we have an audio note, which is a reference of an interaction that you had. It could be an input, then it's further divided into it can be an in-person meeting, it could be a phone call, it could be a video call, it could be a voice note. So these are the different types of meetings that you have.
We see them listed here, right? So these are all audio notes from a data model perspective.
So now the audio note would have a media that would be linked to it, which would have all the details about the call, when it happened, the created date, when it was not updated.
So a lot of metadata.
Yes, when it was
all stored in Salesforce.
All stored in Salesforce, and then the insights, for example, the summary, the coaching summary, the sentiment summary, the sentiment improvements, everything.
This is where Vinton creates the additional insights, right? So that's and the guidance to create those insights we have some defaults, and then our clients can customize it, right?
Yes, exactly.
How they want the summary, long, short, methodology for coaching, how they define a sentiment, good or bad, how they everything,
Exactly.
how they extract next steps.
Exactly. So, for instance, if you're saying Vinton score over here 60.8, it is based on what you have defined the coaching score to be.
Yeah.
So you can say that this is good, this is bad,
Yeah.
and this is average, and then we sort of calculate the score on based of that. It's not something that we calculate on our by our own self thinking
So
about
these insights here and this score here is defined by effectively a prompt.
Yes.
And in this particular example here, this is a fairly good call, right? 78 is a good score, and it looks like it's a discovery call. And Vinton understood that and applied a specific framework because it's a discovery call called BAND framework, and on the back of that, it's attributing a score. So that's the qualitative element. And then there's a very bad one, but it's clearly a test. So 65. Oh, look at this, another 65. So PS assessment appears to be an interviewer assessment. Key improvements include question clarity, deeper probing for insight. It's exactly what you expect. So these are the qualitative elements that we're trying to quantify with a score, but giving a lot of room for the insights, the qualification of why a score is high or low, and all of that is reportable. And the reason why I'm kind of pressing on this point, Mina, is because I can see clients having, and I've seen already a couple, being able to pair and cross-reference a specific score, high or low, to the ability for an opportunity to progress, for a case to go to and reach resolution faster, right?
Yeah. So that's where Agentforce also comes in. When you have like a certain data linked to an opportunity, you can use all of that data to make predictions. That's where we know where Agentforce is heading towards. We also have a beta version of predictions in there. So when you have all of that data, you can sort of use that into all the different things that you have in Salesforce, Agentforce being one of them. So it's just how we send the data back and how structured that data is that you can use it in anything within Salesforce. So whenever we're developing a new feature or whenever we're adding something new, we make sure that the data that is being sent back is in a format that is reportable, that our customers can understand and can be used in all the many things that they would want to use it in their CRM.
Right. As a matter of fact, you're mentioning Agentforce, and for a lot of our clients, Vinton is just one step closer to agentic AI, right? Because as you said, the ability to bring all of this quantitative and qualitative data inside their CRM, readily available for Agentforce, will give them immediate insights and the ability to report, like we're showing on this beautiful dashboards that you've created, but also in the immediate future, depending on how do you define immediate, but Agentforce is a reality and it's working. We already have the integration that present all this data, qualitative, quantitative, insights, all of that to Agentforce, and Agentforce is capable of putting it into the context of the overall history of an account, an opportunity.
So imagine having all of this and Agentforce using all of the data that you have in your org. Imagine where you could go with regards to increased customer satisfaction, increasing sales. So you have all of that data and you're using it with all the tools that Salesforce has, reporting being one of them. So it's really powerful to have that sort of data and having control of how that data is present in your org. To create dashboards, you can use, we've just seen it with reporting. You can use it to create your own team. You can filter it by roles if you're using roles. So anything that you can imagine, you can use that data to sort of get an insight into.
Anything that you can imagine is a bit of a strong statement within Salesforce.
Within Salesforce,
but Vinton, will lend its ability to then make whatever you can think of Salesforce terms a reality, right? Including Agentforce. And again, by contrast, and I guess one of the reasons why we're stressing the native element of the impact of Vinton is because there's a lot of AI note takers out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great solutions. Most of them, if not all of them, don't relate back. Definitely don't relate back natively to your Salesforce data, which means that you're feeding an external silo. And
Yeah.
at some point, that data, which is a wealth of information, all the conversational insights, all the engagement, quality and quantity insights, they're not in your Salesforce. So at some point, you will have either to bring them in, connect them, through a data cloud type of solution, or go without it and just trust that people will, I don't know, make up things or type some notes, maybe copy paste from their whatever Otter or Gong reporting, which is not connected.
Yeah.
So I mean that's why kind of we are stressing this point, because this is immediately useful, relates and maps back to whatever you're doing today, and paves the way for
Yeah.
agentic AI
And
success.
I think a lot of our clients use reports as well to
Yes.
for sort of seeing how their customer service representatives, I know clients who are using it to see how their customer service representatives are doing, how many calls they have, and what. So there's a lot of our customers that are already using reports in their own
Yep.
versions.
Exactly. This just basically adds
Yeah.
the information. Now, I want to go back here, stop sharing the screen, and see if there are questions. So we have a couple of questions. Which calendar? Oh, yes, good question, Astrid. Both the most popular calendars are supported by Vinton. So and that would be Google Calendar and Outlook Calendar, which means that inviting Vinton to join a meeting, be that a video call typically on a Google Calendar or an Outlook Calendar invite, will mean that it will trigger Vinton to join. And by the way, that video meeting can actually happen on Meet, on Zoom, or on Teams. Interestingly, it's a slightly different process, but also Slack huddles are supported by Vinton. By definition, we are a native Salesforce solution, so we support also Slack. Now, a couple of another question: will this dashboard you show in the next Vinton release a starting point for customer? Yes. So yes, all the reporting is already available for all our customers. The latest version has this refined version with dashboards. The one that we were sharing earlier is going to be available to all our clients, and just plug and play ready there. But as I said, I think we've built it more with an idea of what should we provide out of the box to give inspiration to our clients. We are expecting all of you guys to already have a ton of beautiful dashboards built, but if you venture into an AI note taker and you start to see all that conversational data coming back and all the quality and quantitative data that come with it, then you will want to map it back to your dashboard and have a complete view on activity, a complete view on performance, progress, all of that coming also, and beefing, adding, enhancing your existing dashboards with Vinton Insights. So yes, definitely will be available for all our clients.
Okay.
Any more questions coming here? Anything?
I don't think
So a couple of exciting things about dashboards. One is relates to the specific elements of reporting how many different points of contact or activation points we had during the period considered, right? And you mentioned it earlier, but I think it's worth bringing it back up, because it's good and well knowing that certain members of the team have certain quantitative activities, right? So they had 100 calls. Ah, great, well done. But was it 100 call with one account, or was it 100 call with 100 account? Was it 100 call with one case, or with on two opportunities, or were they working a lot across multiple opportunities? And it's not good or bad. It just helps contextualize the activity. Again, something that would be near impossible, I guess, to do outside of the context of where the rest of the organization data is, which is your Salesforce.
I think we have another question.
Could you use the text within transcripts in reports? How many meetings mentioned pricing? That's a very good question.
Yes. So at the moment, you cannot use the text that is within the transcript. You can if you want to, but that would require additional filtering, which is not possible in Salesforce report. But when we send the data back, so for instance, you would probably know that we have topics that we extract.
Mhm.
So we can sort of use those topics because they're saved, and then we can sort of see.
Okay, so you're
Yeah.
saying the transcript itself and the mentions are not available just because of the data model and how.
They are available, but then when you look at reporting, it would not add a lot of value if you use it's a large area text, so it's a lot of text. So you cannot really use, it would not add a lot of value because
So instead of relating to transcript, you're saying relate to the part
yes,
which is extracted from the transcript, which may be, for
Yes.
instance, a topic, right?
Exactly.
We've identified, 5
So-
key topics, which is, or 10
Correct.
actually during,
Yes.
with the Vinton insights.
Mhm.
And that will be easier to relate to.
Yes.
That's a good question. I think it came from YouTube, actually, that one. I see the little symbol there. That's a very good question.
Okay.
Um,
So I don't think we have any other questions, but I have one question.
Oh,
So
please.
when you talk to customers, I know a lot of our customers use reports, and what do customers say about how it has helped them, and how do different customers use reports within their workflow, and how does it help them?
So, well, reports in general are created to help either the management team or the leadership team understand what's going on. The key question that they ask is, what's going on with the team? This month, right? So that's a broad question, and then it boils down to the individual bits and pieces of their business, right? So if it's a commercial organization, so they're selling, they will be focusing on leads. How we're doing, are we creating enough pipe, is our set of future opportunities good and ready. They will be looking at existing opportunities. How are we making progress of that? Is it big enough? Is there progress in percentage of likelihood of closing and all of that, right? In that context, that broader question of how are we doing this month can be actually enhanced as an answer and the reporting on it if information about activity, so how many calls did we have with these opportunities that are progressing, and qualitative elements relating to those interactions, right? So we said sentiment and coaching as very good examples of that. So outside of a commercial environment, we have a lot of clients using our solution in service and customer support environment. So for them, it will be all about cases and the life of cases and
interaction with the
interactions within the cases, and then how does that relate back to the health of their accounts, right? So they will have accounts, they will have them mapped out by red, yellow, green, everything is smooth here. So they will want to see a good mix of quality and quantity activities coming from video calls, in-person meetings, phone calls that they have, with a more than proportionate from a quantity and quality perspective with those accounts that need them, the red accounts and the yellow accounts, right? So that's I think where most of our clients are seeing the value of adding and enhancing their existing dashboards with our latest insights. But as a matter of fact, you've been involved with many conversations with clients that have been asking to expose more and more data and data points so that they are reportable in the way that we display them and we make them available to our clients. I think we're coming up to the half hour. What do you think? Was it informative? Have we covered? Well, no, it's possible to cover everything about dashboards and reporting
Yes.
in Vinton.
But I think it's this good basics that we covered. Then again, you can do a lot of things with it. It comes down to your needs as an organization and how you would want that data to be used in reports. But it adds a lot of value. We've seen this with our clients where everybody is appreciating how it's adding a lot of value. So it's a feedback that we very often get from a lot of our clients, that it has helped them a lot.
Talking about feedback and talking about helping our clients, in a month's time, we'll be back. And I believe we will have a lot more.
Yes.
Right? So you're cooking a new release.
Yeah, something like that,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. So there's a lot that we will have that will be brand new, never seen before. And so don't miss
The next
the
session.
next one. And if you survived up until this point, over 30 minutes of us mumbling about dashboards and reporting and why they're relevant, then we thank you for your attention. And we say, hang in there. We're here to support you. Thank you for your questions and thank you for your interest in our native AI note taker called Vinton. Go and check it out on the App Exchange if you haven't already. And we'll see you in a month.
Yes.
Yeah? Thank you, Mina.
So much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. And the stream. Boom.